నాది కనపడదు. నా వీడియో ఉన్నదా? అట్లా ఓకే, అలా అది నిన్న షేర్ వస్తాను. So good afternoon everybody. Today's class is on injuries around the hip, and Dr. Shyam Kumar, assistant professor in orthopedics. Injuries around the hip constitutes fracture neck of femur, intertrochanteric fracture and hip dislocations. Fracture neck of femur also called as intracapsular fracture, and intertrochanteric fracture is called extracapsular fracture neck. And hip dislocations are again anterior, posterior and central dislocation. Coming to the fracture neck of femur, some anatomy of the proximal femur. Femoral head, the proximal femur is divided into the femoral head and neck region. This is intracapsular region, and intertrochanteric region, that is in between the greater trochanter and lesser trochanter, and subtrochanteric region. Subtrochanteric region is the region 5 centimeters below the inferior end of the lesser trochanter. This is called subtrochanteric region. The capsule extends from the greater trochanter to lesser trochanter, and posteriorly it is a free capsule, is a free end, and it extends somewards downwards. All this is extracapsular and this is intracapsular. And bony trabecular pattern of the proximal femur is important because it indicates the level of the osteoporosis, level of the density within the bone, and also it is arranged in a pattern that transmission of the weight is distributed. There are 5 groups of the trabecular pattern in the proximal femur. First one is the principal compressive group. Second one is the principal tensile group. Third one is the secondary compressive group. Fourth is secondary tensile group, and fifth is greater trochanteric group. Why these groups are important? Because in elder age group and geriatric age group, these patterns are altered. It indicates the level of the osteoporosis. There is one index called Sinks index, in which there is 6 grades based on this trabecular pattern. So grade 6 is all trabecular present, and grade 5 is only principal compressive and principal tensile groups are present. Rest of the trabecular are not visible on the radiographs. And grade 4 is principal tensile group is the principal tensile group intensity is decreased, means there is some continuity, but their width is decreased. And fourth one is there is a break in the principal tensile group at the level of neck. So it principal tensile groups from the greater trochanter region to the head of the femur. There is a break, and it is hardly seen in the X-ray. That is grade 3, and it is grade 3 is principal tensile groups also breaks. It indicates this is a stage of osteoporosis. And grade 4 is principal tensile group is grade 2 is there is only principal compressive group, rest of all trabecular are absent. And grade 2 is this principal grade 1 is principal compressive group also faded. So Singh's index is indicated. Uh, it indicates the level of the osteoporosis and tendency to the fractures. And another important one is calcar femur. Calcar femur is the posteromedial portion of the femur. When you do a cross section at the level here, the posteromedial part of the femur is calcar part. It is the very strongest and weight absorption area. So if there is an individual fragment in, if the calcar femur is fractured, it is an unstable fracture. And another one is normal angle of the neck shaft angle. So if you draw a line along the shaft, vertical line along the femur shaft, and another line along the center of the neck, it forms around 125 to 135 degrees angle. This is called a normal neck shaft angle. If it is greater than 135 degrees, it is called coxa valga. Valga means outside deviation. And if it is less than 120 degrees, it is called coxa vara. And blood supply to the femoral head. Femoral head blood supply is very important, because if there is any fracture at the level of neck, the blood supply to the head is disturbed, and it may result in AVN. AVN means avascular necrosis It like other bones like talus and scaphoid, where fracture limits the blood supply to the bone, and ultimately results in avascular necrosis. So here the blood supply of femoral head is extracapsular arterial ring ascending, from which ascending cervical branches arises, and artery of ligamentum teres. So this is femoral artery, from where medial femoral and lateral femoral circumflex artery will come. The medial femoral circumflex artery goes around the posterior, and lateral femoral circumflex artery comes anterior and forms a loop that is called extracapsular arterial ring. It lies outside the capsule. From these, cervical branches arises. Cervical or retinacular branches arises. So these are ascending cervical branches, ascending over the femoral neck in all directions, anterior, posterior, medial, and lateral groups. Out of these, the lateral groups are important, because it forms the major blood supply to the head. So this is extracapsular ring, arterial ring, from which retinacular, cervical arteries come, and forms another intracapsular subsynovial ring, arterial ring. From this ring arises the epiphyseal arterial group. This epiphyseal arterial groups supplies the lateral epiphyseal arterial group supplies the major blood supply to the head, and small portion of the head is supplied by the artery of ligamentum teres, which runs along the ligamentum teres. And fracture neck of femur. The mechanism is injury. It occurs mostly in elderly age group, geriatric age groups, where there is a comorbid conditions is associated, like diabetes and epilepsy or syncope or malignancies. With the trivial fall only, there may be fracture neck of femur or endotrochanteric fracture. Trivial means simple fall, and the limb is in twisting position, means external rotated during the fall, or sometimes it may fracture and fall. Means due to severe osteoporotic, even with walking, fracture occurs and fall, or maybe trivial fall, minor fall will produce a fracture. In young and children, it is mostly due to rotor of castants. Stress fractures may be seen in military personnel. Coming to the classification, there are two classifications of fracture neck of femur. One is Powell's classification, another one is Gardner's classification. Powell's classification is based on the angle of inclination of the fracture with horizontal line. In a horizontal line is drawn and angle of fracture line is passed along the fracture line and angle is measured. According to this, 0 to 30 degrees, 30 to 50 greater than 70. So three variants are there. Out of this, 30 degrees is stable one and 70 degrees are unstable one. Why? Because when a weight is when there is a weight bearing, the force is transmitted. The 30 degrees fracture line is somewhat horizontal and it can transmit weight along the fracture to the distal femur. So these are mostly impacted fracture or undisplaced fracture. So these are called stable fracture. And when you come to the 70 degrees, it is more nearly vertical. Due to the weight transmission, there may be displacement. It may be displaced. So this is a unstable fracture. And another classification is Gardner's classification. This is based on the degree of displacement of fracture and acetabulum head neck trabecular pattern. And if there is a change in this trabecular pattern in the neck or head or acetabulum, it is according to the changes, it is divided into 4 stages. These are stages, means more the severity of the injury, the stage is higher. First one is Gardner stage 1, that is incomplete or impacted fracture. The fracture is impacted. Impacted means it is undisplaced and the fracture is collapsed, compressed, and there is a bend in the trabecula only. So this is the acetabulum, trabecula in the acetabulum, trabecula in the head, and there is bend in the trabecula only. So it may be stable one. Second one is stage 2. Stage 2 is complete but undisplaced, means the fracture is completed but the trabecula are in alignment. This is the acetabulum trabecula and head and neck trabecula. They are in alignment and contact. Here there is a small fracture but trabecular pattern is maintained. Stage 3 is displaced fracture, means the fracture is displaced and trabecular pattern is lost. The acetabulum head and neck trabecular pattern is lost, but there is contact between the trabecula. So mainly contact between the trabecula, head and neck. Third one is complete displacement. Acetabular head and neck trabecular aligned, but the head and neck trabecula are completely displaced. Here is the trabecula of head and this is the trabecula acetabulum. Here the trabecula of distal fragment is not aligned. Coming to the clinical features, patient may complain of pain in the groin and pain while movements. But in impacted patients, impacted fractures, some patient may walk with mild symptoms. Patient can able to walk in impacted fractures. So sometimes there may be fracture, patient may not notice because of a very less pain. So weight bearing can be possible in impacted, but but complete fracture and a displaced fracture, patient may unable to weight bear and pain aggravates with the movement, and there may be ecchymosis may be seen, and there may be shortening of the limb and external rotation of the deformity. This is the normal foot where the foot is foot is external rotated. Normal position of the foot is 15 to 20 degrees external rotation. Whereas here, this foot is external rotated around 45 degrees. So there is external rotation deformity and shortening, and when palpation, tenderness in the Scarpa's triangle, and unable to do straight leg rest. And in intertrochanteric fracture also there is external rotation deformity, but it is greater than 45 degrees. The lateral border of the foot touches the couches. Why? Because that is an extracapsular fracture. Here in fracture neck of femur, the capsule prevents the full external rotation of the limb. So the difference between the fracture neck of femur and intertrochanteric fracture. So age almost both equal geriatric patient. Fracture neck of femur can be seen in more common in a female, whereas intertrochanteric fracture is more common in male. Both are due to the trivial fall, and as I already told, in fracture neck of femur, if there is an impacted or undisplaced fracture, patient may able to walk, but intertrochanteric patient not able to weight bear, and pain is very mild in fracture neck of femur when compared to the intertrochanteric fracture, and swelling also is minimal, but because it is a intracapsular one. But intertrochanteric there is severe pain, and ecchymosis or ecchymosis may be seen in and around the GT, and if there is tenderness in Scarpa's triangle, fracture neck may be suspected, and in intertrochanteric fracture there is tenderness or greater trochanter. So external rotation is less than 45 degrees. It is due to concealment of the capsule. External rotation is greater than 45 degrees in intertrochanteric fracture. So shortening also more in intertrochanteric fracture. And the treatment is in fracture neck of femur is always fixation. There is no question of conservative treatment. Intertrochanteric fracture can be managed conservatively. So fracture neck of femur is in fracture neck of femur, if untreated, non-union is common. Why? Because there is no very less fracture symptoma, and the cambium layer of periosteum is absent, which periosteum consists of two layers, fibrous and cambium layer. The cambium layer is responsible for the new bone formation. That layer is absent within the hip joint periosteum. So non-union can be more seen in fracture neck of femur. In intertrochanter, it unites, but in malunion is common unless any intervention. Coming to the investigations, radiograph is taken, AP view, AP pelvis with both hips is taken. You can see there is break in continuity of the Shelton line. This is Shelton line. Inferior part of the neck, head, and inferior part of the superior pubic rami forms an arch. This is called Shelton line. This line is broken, like here. This Shelton, this is normal. Here Shelton's line is broken, and sometimes the fracture may not visible routinely. Here there is a fracture neck of femur. It is not visible. If you see the lesser trochanter is prominent, means that is it is external rotated. So if you take a film radiograph with leg in lower limb in internal rotation, you can identify a small fracture. Likewise, if you do a full external rotation also, you can make the undisplaced fractures. Here this is a full external rotation. You can see a fracture line. Here this is an internal rotation view. So routine sometimes impacted and undisplaced fractures may not be routinely seen in routine X-rays. So their internal rotation or external rotation views are important. Lateral views are not not helpful means it is if it is acute condition, patient we may not take a radial lateral view. MRI is useful in occult fractures means if not able to diagnose in the routine radiographs, MRI can be taken where you can see a edema along the neck, which indicates a minor undisplaced or occult fractures. And sometimes the fracture may be pathological, may be seen in METs. So due to metastasis, there may be pathological fracture. In those cases, MRI also helpful. CT scan is done in detecting non-union cases or occult fractures and associated acetabular fracture or other injuries, and to know the orientation of the fractures. And the PET scan is useful if there is any suspicion of metastasis or if MRI is contraindicated. Coming to the treatment of fracture neck of femur. So there is no role of conservative treatment unless patient is not a candidate for surgery or severe comorbid conditions like diabetes or hypertension or severe. When patient is not eligible for anesthesia, you can do a conservative treatment only in impacted fractures. And so there is a high chance of non-union fracture must be fixed, internally fixed as early as possible. So the goal is achieve union by osteosynthesis by various internal method fixation devices like cannulated screw, dynamic hip screw, knoll spin, and Moore spin. So this is a DHS, dynamic hip screw, means it allows the collapse at the fracture site. So that dynamic means this screw can be moved within the barrel of the blade. So it allows the collapse of the fracture and allows union. These are called Moore spins. It is used in the fracture in children cases. So children fracture neck of femur is a different scenario. There is another classification system is the Delbet's classification. That's a Delbet classification. It is of 4 types. Children fracture neck of femur classification is Delbet. It is 4 types. Type 1 is transepiphyseal fracture line. Fracture line runs through transepiphysis. Second one is transcervical. Third one is trochanteric, cervicotrochanteric. Fourth one is intertrochanteric. So fractures around the hip in children is a different scenario. It is Delbet's classification. In children, you can use pins like Moore spins or knoll spins. Moore spins are very smooth one. To avoid damage to the physis, pins are used. These are cannulated hip screws for undisplaced fracture or in younger age group. In younger age group, when and early planning of surgery, these cancellous screws, hip screws can be applied. And these are knoll spins. Knoll spins have threads at the end. These knoll spins also used in children's class, adolescent or children fracture neck of femur. So another method of surgical management is osteotomies. The aim of the osteotomies is convert the fracture into the more horizontal one. That is Powell's 70 degrees to Powell's 30 degrees. So here there is the fracture is around 70 degrees, Powell's 70 degrees. So if allow weight bearing, there is chance of displacement and higher chance of non-union. So we need to convert into the Powell's 30 degrees. So one osteotomy is McMurray's osteotomy is removal of a chunk of bone and rotate the head so that the fracture line is more horizontal If there is any weight bearing, there is impaction at the fracture site and chances of union is high. Another one is valgus osteotomy. These osteotomies are done in a younger age group, not in the elder age group. Here also the principle is the same. This is Paul's valgus osteotomy. A wedge-shaped bone is removed and head is, the weight-bearing part of head is turned. Another mode of surgical treatment is hemiarthroplasty, which is routinely done in geriatric age group. Hemiarthroplasty may be done with Austin Moore's prosthesis, Thompson's, and bipolar. Thompson's is the outdated one, not using now. Austin Moore's and bipolar prosthesis are routinely done. If the age is very high, around 75 degrees, or any change, any signs of acetabular erosion and arthritic changes, we can directly go to hip replacement surgery. This is Austin Moore's prosthesis. Here in Austin Moore's, the movement is at the head and acetabulum. Bipolar means movement is at the acetabulum head and in bipolar there is a polycarp and another articulation is there. So movement is at two places, so that the rotations and abductions range may be higher. This is bipolar prosthesis for fracture neck of femur. The fractured part is removed and prosthesis is applied. This is called hemiarthroplasty, means because acetabulum portion is not only femoral portion is replaced with prosthesis. Here acetabular portion also replaced with the acetabular cup. This is total hip replacement. So complications are non-union, avascular necrosis, and osteoarthritis. Causes of non-union are inadequate reduction and poor fixation, and if there any combination of the posterior wall. AVN non-union occurs within few months, but in AVN results in 6 months to 2 years. In AVN, the blood supply is lost. Even after internal fixation also, AVN can occur. It depends on how well you fix the fracture. In AVN, there is the collapse of the subchondral bone and articular cartilage, ultimately lead to secondary osteoarthritis few years after. Coming to the intertrochanteric fracture, mechanism of the injury is same. Elderly osteoporotic people and trivial fall. In individuals, RTA. Clinical features are somewhat severe to the fracture neck of femur. I already told you the patient may not able to weight bear, and ecchymosis around the hip is more, particularly around the GT, and the shortening is more, and external rotation is up to the 90 degrees. That means lateral part of the toe touches the couch, and here tenderness over the GT, tenderness over the greater trochanter may be seen. And classification is Boyd Griffin classification. It depends on the combination and level of extension of the fracture. Type 1 is it's a stable fracture and a two-part fracture and undisplaced. Type 2 is unstable, means comminuted fracture. Type 3 is reverse oblique, means fracture lines from the lesser trochanter to downwards. Normal intertrochanteric fracture runs from the greater trochanteric to lesser trochanter. So it is called intertrochanteric. Here, the fracture lines from the lesser trochanter to, and it travels downwards toward the outer surface. And type 4 is fracture extends into the subtrochanteric region, and it occurs in another plane, means sagittal and coronal plane also fractured. Another classification is Evans classification. It is of two types. Type 1 is undisplaced, that is routine intertrochanteric fracture. Type 2 is reverse oblique fracture. Reverse oblique fracture means it runs from the lesser trochanteric to outwards. So it is of type 2, two types. So intertrochanteric fracture is called unstable when the when it is a reverse oblique fracture or comminuted fracture or associated subtrochanteric fracture and calcar fracture means posteromedial cortex fracture. If any one of these involved, it is called unstable fracture. So diagnosis is routine radiograph pelvis with both hips or a hip with thigh, which shows intertrochanteric fracture. And the treatment is you can do conservative treatment with Boller-Barnes splint. Upper tibial print traction is applied and limb is kept in abduction and traction is applied for 6 weeks. Fracture will enact, but with conservative treatment, there is a lot of complications like bed sores. Patient may be bedridden for a long duration, around 2 to 3 months. So there may be associated bed sores, DVT, urinary tract infections, and hypostatic pneumonia. So early mobilization is key in the success of the fracture union, and malunion is common in conservative treatment. Means the fracture is united in varus position. In that position, the biomechanics are altered. So conservative skin traction can applied, skeletal traction. This skin traction, with skin traction, you can apply only 2 to 3 kgs of weight, which is not adequate for IT fracture. Another one is pin track, upper tibial pin traction. This is called derotation boot. It prevents the axial rotation deformity so that union can occur in a neutral position. And coming to the operative treatment, dynamic hip screw and proximal femoral nail are routinely used. This dynamic hip screw, already told, it allows the collapse of the fracture, and dynamic hip screw must be done in a stable fracture only. If there is any combination of the posteromedial complex or comminuted fracture or reverse oblique fracture or extending into the subtrochanteric region, ideal implant is proximal femoral nail. This is proximal femoral nail. It is more biological, biomechanical fixation. Why? Because load transfer is occurs within the shaft of the femur. This is another variety of proximal femoral nail. Coming to the complication, malunion is the common complication of intertrochanteric. For fracture neck of femur, that is non-union. For intertrochanteric fracture, it is malunion, and it malunions in coxa vara, means decrease in neck shaft angle, and there is a shortening of the limb and severe coxa vara and shortening. Okay. Next topic is dislocation. Dislocations of hip. Dislocation is complete and persistent displacement of joint in which at least part of the supporting capsule and some part of ligaments are disrupted. So in dislocation, the contact between the articular surface is completely lost. If there is a minor contact between the articular surface, it is a subluxation. If the contact between the articular surface is completely lost, it is dislocation. So dislocations are classified. Dislocation of hip is classified into 3 types: posterior, anterior, and central fracture dislocation. Posterior dislocation means the head of the femur dislocates posterior to the acetabulum. It is the commonest one. It means 80 to 90% cases are posterior dislocation. Anterior dislocation are 10 to 20%. These are the head is displaced anteriorly, and another one is central dislocation. Central dislocation is always associated with fracture of acetabulum. So acetabulum is fractured and head goes through the fracture. So whether the hip dislocation is a isolated hip dislocation or associated with acetabular fracture depends on the position of the limb while road traffic accident, while trauma. So most of this fracture occur during dashboard injuries. So while driving a car, the hip is in flexion and knee is in flexion. If there is any collision, that force is transmitted along the shaft of the femur, and there may be dislocation of the hip with or without acetabular posterior acetabular wall fracture. In this position, the associated injuries are patellar fracture and shaft of the femur. So the posterior wall dislocation with or without depends on the movement, depends on the position of the hip. The hip in neutral position and slight adduction, pure dislocation without acetabular fracture occurs. The classification is Thompson and Epstein's classification of posterior hip dislocation. Type 1 is with or without minor fracture of the acetabular wall. So it is pure dislocation or with minor fracture of the acetabulum. Type 2 is large chunk of the posterior wall of acetabulum is lost. Here this is normal. In type 2 there is maybe acetabular large chunk of acetabular wall fractures may be seen. Type 3 is dislocation with combination of the posterior wall of acetabulum. Type 4 is rim fracture or floor of acetabulum fracture may be associated with dislocation. Type 5 is another variety, that is fracture dislocation of the hip associated with fracture of the head of the femur. So type 1 is with or without minor fracture of the acetabulum. Type 2 is large single fracture of posterior acetabular rim. Type 3 is a comminuted fracture of acetabular rim. Type 4 is acetabular rim or floor fracture. Type 5 is femoral head fracture with dislocation. This type 5 is again classified into 4 types. Hipkins 1, 2, 3, 4. Hipkins 1 is fracture is, it depends on the location of the fracture, whether the fracture is in and around the fovea, depends on the in relation to the fovea centralis. So type 1 is femoral head fracture is inferior to, this is fovea and fracture is inferior to the fovea centralis, and type 2 is extends above the fovea capitalis. Type 3 is associated with neck fracture, and type 4 is femoral head fracture with acetabular fracture also. So this is classification. So most of these cases are road traffic accidents and associated with other conditions like pelvic injuries or patellar or femur fracture. So there is a severe pain and patient is not able to move, and the reduction, unlike other fractures, pain is not reduced with sprinting or any traction. So coming to the symptoms, signs, the attitude of the limb is flexion at the hip, adduction of the lower limb, and internal rotation. Here note the medial surface of the foot touches the crotches. So hip is in flexion, adduction, and internal rotation, and there is shortening of the femur, shortening of the lower limb, and if you palpate the gluteal region, there is a prominence of head is felt, and if you palpate the femoral pulse at the Scarpa's triangle, it is not felt, because if head of the femur is not in the acetabulum. So if you want to palpate any pulse, there must be any bony prominence below that. So here The head of the head of the femur is the bony prominence to feel the femoral pulse. This is called vascular sign of Nora positive. Another is movements at the hip are reduced and painful. There may be associated foot drop if sciatic nerve also involved. Coming to the imaging, radiograph is taken and femoral head is out of the acetabulum. It is high above the acetabulum and posteriorly displaced, and Shelton line is broken, and the lesser trochanter is not visible. Why? Because it is severely internal rotated. In neutral position, there is mild prominence of lesser trochanter. If it is external rotation, the lesser trochanter is very prominent. Here, lesser trochanter is not visible. So it is internal rotated, and limb is in adducted position. Internal rotation, adducted position, and head is displaced posteriorly and out superiorly. So this is a pure dislocation. Sometimes there may be associated with acetabular. This is posterior wall of acetabulum. This is the anterior wall of acetabulum. Sometimes may be associated with posterior wall fractures. So not after a radiograph, CT is done to displace to look for any posterior wall fracture or associated acetabular fracture, or sometimes dislocation may be associated with minor undisplaced or hairline neck fractures. To identify them, CT scan is done. So any dislocation dislocation must be reduced immediately. Why? Because the blood supply may be lost and it is difficult to reduce after some duration. Why? Because muscles goes into the spasm. So manipulation under general anesthesia is done. So the routine technique of reduction of the hip joint is counter traction, and the assistant grasp the pelvis firmly and the traction along the line of femur with hip in 90 degrees and knee in 90 degrees position. That is routinely done. You can hear a clunk sound after reduction, and hip will freely move in all direction after the reduction, and pain is decreased immediately after reduction. So there are so many methods of reduction: Alice method, Stimson's method, and Bigelow's method, lateral traction method. Out of this, Alice and Bigelow's and Stimson's are commonly used. So patient in supine position, knee is flexed, and assistant stabilize the pelvis with uh, with both palms on the both anterosuperior spine, and traction is applied along the femur, and the limb is surgeon adducts and internal rotates the femur to get reduction, and hip is gently rotated internally during the traction. Hip is adducted and internal rotated mildly. This will lever around the posterior wall of the acetabulum and reduced. Another one is Bigelow's method. Patient is supine and lying on the floor, and say counter traction on the anterosuperior spine and traction along the line of the deformity. Hip is gently adducted, internal rotated, and bent on the abdomen, which relax the Y ligament. This brings the hip is bent along bent on abdomen, which brings the femoral head near the posterior inferior acetabulum. Then by adduction and internal rotation, the head is levered back, and then hip is extended. Stimson's gravity method is here. This reduction is done under the prone condition, prone position. At the edge of table, the both hips are hanged, and counter pressure is applied over the sacrum to stabilize the pelvis, and Hip is 90 degrees flexed, knee is 90 degrees flexed, and pressure is applied on the knee towards along the femur. Which with gravity, the hip will reduce. With gentle rotatory movements, the hip will reduce. These all these reductions are done under anesthesia only. Why? Because the hip muscles are very strong. Without anesthesia, it won't reduce. However, if the reduction is failed, open reduction can be done. So indications for open reduction are failed closed reduction, unstable hip after the reduction, means if there is any acetabular fracture, posterior acetabular fracture, uh, the reduction may not sustain, and again dislocation occurs. In those cases, open reduction can be done. And if there is any bone fragments within the joint, after reduction, the radiographs and CT scan can be done. If you noted any bone fragments within the joint, open again, you open the hip and any fracture of the femoral head, and if there is any sciatic nerve palsy, open reduction can be done. So complications are injury to the sciatic nerve. These are mostly neuropraxia, and they will improve after a few months. If there is any if there is no improvement, you can do an open reduction. And a vascular necrosis of the femur head, it occurs in 50 to 20% of cases and appears after 1 to 2 years of age. This after avascular necrosis, next stage is osteoarthritis. It is a very late complication. The head is deformed, and acetabulum also eroded, and which ultimately result in secondary osteoarthritis. Myositis ossificans means muscle newborn formation within the muscle few weeks to months after injury. It may result in persistent pain and stiffness. So next dislocation is anterior hip dislocation. It's very rare when the legs are forcibly abducted and external rotated position. So the position here is abducted and external rotated. In posterior dislocation of hip, flexion, adduction, internal rotation. Here it is reverse. The head of the acetabulum, head of the femur is anterior to the acetabulum, anterior and inferior to the acetabulum. It typically occurs in the fall from native when the foot stucks and hip abducts excessively. So the limb is in external rotation. There may be true lengthening, and head may be powerful in groin. So this is a radiograph showing anterior dislocation of hip. Head is inferior to the acetabulum, anterior and inferior to the acetabulum, and abducted position. Next one is central dislocation. Central dislocation is the least common, and when during road traffic accident or dashboard injury, if the limb is in a abducted position, abducted and external rotation while receiving a blow, there is associated fracture of the acetabulum, and the head will traverse the acetabulum into the pelvis. This is called central dislocation. So here is the radiograph showing the posterior dislocation. Head is posterior and superior to the acetabulum. Here head is anterior and inferior to the acetabulum. This is anterior dislocation. This is central dislocation. This is the normal X-ray. This is iliopubic line. This is ischiopubic line. This is the roof of acetabulum. Head traverse through the fracture. Here there is a break in these lines. It indicates the fracture, and head traverse through the line. This is central dislocation. And the treatment of central dislocation is you apply a lateral pin traction and lower tibial or lower femoral pin traction, so that the head will the displacement is reduced, and after that, and CT is done, and you can do a stapler surgery, or if it is a minimally comminuted fracture, you can treat it conservatively. And coming to the neurological examination in the dislocations, the signs of sciatic nerve injury is loss of sensation in the posterior leg and foot, loss of dorsiflexion and plantar flexion, and loss of deep tendon reflexes at the ankle, S1, S2. And signs of femoral nerve injury is quadriceps weakness, loss of sensation over the thigh, and deep tendon reflexes at the knee, L2, and myositis and osteoarthritis. Thank you.